Yo, what's up everybody? Once again, it's Brand Man Sean, and this video is brought to you by BrandManNetwork.com because I signed myself. Now, the question of the day is, do old school marketing methods still work? Do they? I've been asked that question, so I said I'll do a video on it. The answer is yes. I'm going to get to that straightforward, and then I'll provide some of the nuances and how some people are implementing them in a second. But first, I want to go ahead and say, for those of y'all who are in BrandManNetwork.com, I dropped that Facebook ads course for free as promised within the network. So you guys go ahead and check that out. I did that two days ago, and just want to make sure you guys know. Anybody other than that who's been asking me about Facebook ads, outside of it being in the network, eventually at some point I will, make it for sale as well. But back to this question. All right, this is where I want to start. Just understand the philosophy first. Anywhere that has attention, right, is something that you can flip to make whatever you need to do happen. So music-wise, obviously it has to be the right audience, which we'll get into. But I say this because people automatically assume, because it's not trendy and you don't hear people say market there, that you shouldn't market there. And the real world works in the same way that we have 5 or 6 different popular social media platforms like Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, right? And people assume, okay, Instagram is the most popping. Everybody's on Instagram. So now Facebook, I hear people say all the time, Facebook isn't good for marketing. Like, Facebook is dead. No one cares about that. But I know artists, comedians, like several top people that blown up off of Facebook like within the last year. Same for Snapchat. People are still on Snapchat. As long as their attention is there, as long as it's an audience that's relevant to you there, you can blow up off of that, or you can gain fans off of that. So it's not about, like, does it still work or not? Does it still have attention in that space? And also, once people move off of it because it's not trendy anymore, in a lot of ways, it becomes better because there's less competition, so you can stand out in that space. So that's the philosophy of it. Realize that all of these places that have attention, yes, they still matter. They can be relevant. Radio is still relevant. Maybe it's not the most relevant in the way that it used to be, but it's still very relevant. So don't get all of that myth out of your head. It's just one rule. If there's attention there, it can work, right? And then if it's attention that's relevant to you there, because this leads me into one of the biggest problems I've seen with the real world campaigns. Because real world campaigns, I've seen physical campaigns by Chance the Rapper, Rick Ross, I don't know. I heard people talk about blacks in recent years. I'm talking about like very recent years. All these artists are doing them, and it's a reason that they're still doing them, even though they have these big successful careers and they're at labels, because there's a different way that you have to look at it now today as the industry's evolved to include digital so much. And that reason is brand awareness. Right? And it's no longer that primary awareness where you think, oh, I'm going to get all of my fan base and build that way, right? And I need to make sure I do it every single city that I possibly want to target. However, it is something that adds layers to your campaigns, especially in key markets. So, and that key market is dependent on whatever your fan base is. And even within that key market, that city, it needs to be in a place where your fan base is. Because when I talk about targeting wrong fan bases or just doing it anywhere, I see a lot of artists wasting money by going to places that just happen to have a lot of people, sports events and things like that, where it's cool that these old people stop to like talk to you, and they're being nice and they're not turning you down, and the whole family is talking to you, but they're probably not going to be the people at your show. So even though you had a moment and you got something on foot, you got footage and everything, the end result probably is not going to be there, right? So you got to remember your end result. Is it a college? Is it some other artist show? Because that's one of the biggest things that I'm constantly seeing good results from, in terms of doing a pop-up outside of somebody's show that also has a relevant audience. Yeah, you weren't able to get on the bill, right? But you can still perform while they're in line waiting to get into the show, or perform while they're waiting to go home, or just chilling outside parking lot pimping or something like that. Like, that's still an option that's highly relevant. But brand presence is the layer that people are going for when they do physical. Like, if you're not a street artist, 100% physical likely will likely, not saying it's impossible, it likely will not have the same results. So I'll get a little bit deeper into that on some more specifics, but on another series. But just say this. Actually, all right, phone got a phone call. I don't know what that skip is gonna be like, but all right, cool. Look at it this way though. Anything that you see in multiple mediums automatically starts to assume power, right? Anything that's omnipresent, anything when you start doing that across multiple mediums, it starts to assume power. Here's an example. Imagine that you see somebody on Instagram, right? You only know them on Instagram, but when you see them in the physical world for the first time, right? The real world for the first time, it's like, oh snap. You know that person. It's like it's something that connects. You remember it. It's the same thing for you. Like if you are marketing, right, and you're pushing something online, you're targeting an area, and then people will see like pop-ups of you in their life, right, at their college or on their street, wherever. Like it starts to connect those dots. In the same way, it's powerful to get seen on Facebook, and then Snapchat, and then Instagram. And then all like different digital sites or different even just pages within Instagram, how that's powerful. It's even more powerful when you're talking about internet, not internet. You get what I'm saying? And then different spaces and unrelated platforms. And when you get seen across multiple mediums, that automatically assumes power. So that's the real value of the physical campaigns at this point for most types of artists. And the bigger thing is also making sure that you record it, which is covered in my PR series. But like, just say, I'll just leave it this simply for now. Make sure you capture that, especially if you're on the street artist, right? Make sure you capture it and then use that. Whatever gets done, even if it's just some flyers that you cover on a whole wall, still capture it, and then you can use that and even repurpose that online. Like, small idea. If I just cover up a whole side of a building in flyers or just something interesting, right? If I take that, right, and it's in some space and place in the city, I record that or take pictures of it, whatever, and then I get online and then I target that city and area, right? So now when people see the place, they saw the place online, that exact wall is like, oh, there's that wall. That small thing alone is connecting. And these are just that surface level, that top of the funnel brand awareness activities that ultimately sets the tone for people to actually go down the fan funnel, into consideration, conversion, all that good stuff. But hope that's helpful for you guys, and just understanding that, yes, real world activities, old school marketing does still work. All these things still work. All these things are still relevant. It's just how you combine them together and making them a part of one full campaign. Too many people are thinking that I'm going to just do Facebook ads. I'm just going to just do social media marketing and things like that. That's cool if you're just like, I just want to get this song a lot of views, and then maybe try to leverage that to get attention from a record label, or maybe just really try to make this go as viral as possible and see what happens. But if you're talking about really being in control of your system and scenario, it's going to really take working multiple different types of mediums over time. So that's it for this video. Once again, this video is brought to you by BrandmanNetwork.com. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you like it, you might as well share it. And if you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button.